Yeah, it was a tough day for the small account yesterday, but you know what? It's okay. I was expecting one like pretty decent setback like that. Went from being up 120% on the account to being up 35% or 40%. So it's like, it sucks. But at the end of the day, I was expecting one of those to happen. Happened to be yesterday, and now it's just time to be even more selective and make even better decisions. And you know what? It's okay, right? It's not the end of the world. Rather have it happen now than in, you know, 2 weeks when we're have a lot more money in there. So, good morning, guys. Welcome to another pre-market live. Today is Friday, December 17th. Welcome to the stream. Obviously, a busy day ahead. We have quad witching, Lotto Friday, all in one. So it's going to be an exciting day for sure. My plan today, guys, is to definitely work on taking a few really good A-plus setups this morning, and then, kind of making sure that these opportunities really are A-plus, right? That's the biggest thing. So I want to talk about overall market in general first. SPY. Definitely looking like it might break under the support level here at 460. Obviously, guys, that's going to be a huge level, right? We look at that 30-minute. It is coinciding, right? And we talk about this all the time, but Apple, NVIDIA, et cetera, they make up such a large percentage. I'm including NVIDIA, but Apple and those names make up such a large percentage of the S&P that when those see drawdowns, it's hard for the overall market to still perform well, when a name like Apple is really having a hard time. So if we're going to see a bounce, it's going to be in this 460.25 range, guys. That was our breakout level on SPY. If we cannot hold that, logically, I think we do visit the 454 level. And the name, obviously, that's going to weight the most into that is going to be Apple, right? So if we look at Apple, guys, and I know maybe people have PTSD after yesterday. I get it. It sucks. Apple faked out hard. Quickly, I want to go over like what I saw in that trade, right? And I know maybe you don't want to see it. It's okay. But I want to go over it. It's going to take 2 minutes. Guys, when Apple pulled back yesterday, right, I got caught on this reversal candle, right? And this was definitely a bull trap for sure, right? That candle closes above these wicks right here, right? That looks like it's a good long, at least to 176.40, if not a little bit higher, right? Excuse me, not 176.40. It looks like if we can get up to that, honestly, it looked like we were going to kind of test that 177 level, right? The next kind of leg of resistance. Instead, we rejected the top of this candle, you can call it, right? The 176.59 area. I thought we would see a move back probably to 178, at least retest that level, or at least VWAP, right? And then reject. But, my idea was play it for the bounce. Instead, we saw a move down, and it obviously sucked, right? It was on this candle that I took it, and then we see that indecision candle, and then that really big flush, and that's kind of where I stopped out. But on Apple right now, what I want to look at, right, is kind of the setup that we have for today. Understand that does happen sometimes. You're going to get faked out once in a while. It happens. Here's what I'm looking at for today on Apple. This is a humongous level, guys. And to properly understand why this level is so big, you need to look at the daily, right? And looking at the daily, you can tell that, if Apple comes down below 170, right, it looks like it's going to see that 164 level, right, or 165, we'll call it 165.44. Maybe we see some support at 168, but for me, under 170, Apple looks like a pretty good short opportunity, right? 167, 168 looks like that support area. Maybe we see some support there, but these big wicks to the upside, I honestly do think we see a retest of this major area, which was 165.24. And in all honesty, I think Apple needs to come back down to this previous at the high, all-time high from September, which is that 157 area. But as far as today goes, right, not carrying any bias, here are my levels, right? Very simple. If we confirm under this 170.30 level, it is a short trade for me, right? Pre-market low of 169.13, so keep that in mind. Yesterday we saw the bullish pre-market and we flushed off the open. Today we're seeing a very bearish pre-market. There are definitely some walls in these Apple, the Apple level too. It definitely looks like it's looking for some downside pressure. This chart is pretty ugly, guys. The 30-minute chart, that's not what you want to see as a bull, right? If yesterday we had that big gap up, which in all honesty, looking back, looks super unhealthy. But if we had that big gap up and broken new all-time highs, that's a different story. We rejected all-time highs, and now we're looking at a flush to the downside, right? And so what I'm going to be looking at is off of open, do we break and hold this 170.30 area, or do we reject it and move to the downside, right? So if we come over, right, we did have a little bit of a gap up, right? If we look at, that pre-market kind of trade, right? The highs in pre-market was 171.65 right at 4 a.m. So it's tough to gauge that, but got to make that a level just because it can be important. Pre-market low 169.13. For me, guys, like I said, under 170.30, as you can tell looking at the daily, that is the short spot for me, right? So that's kind of where I'm going to be looking under that level to the short side. If we can get above our resistance from yesterday, so we were really teasing that close towards the end of the day, above that 173 level. Over 173, I do like calls to the upside. If we break over a pre-market high, that could be a decent trigger. For me, the key level from yesterday and the week prior was 172.30. So over that 172.30 level might be a nice spot to look at calls for a scalp. Just have to sit back and kind of wait for the action to develop today. Yeah, and I will make sure I give the contract numbers. Another one, NVIDIA. I'm going to kind of move a little bit quicker because I talked about the overall market. NVIDIA has strong support down here, guys. This one is probably going to show a little bit more relative strength than Apple because it's already sold off a ton. But if we break under that 172.10 level, I put 172, that level is going to be key. If we break under it, looking at the daily chart, right, then I think we have room down to 257. It's definitely going to get ugly under that level. So this will be a top watch for me, guys. Under 272.10, that would be a huge level. What am I going to be looking at off open? I want to see if it holds under 280. That's a pretty good short trigger. If it gaps up above 280, you can look at the 280 calls off of open. FedEx. This is one of my long watches today, guys. Over 256.77, I think looks pretty good for a move to probably 265. Pre-market highs here of 259.30. So if we see a move over pre-market high, that's probably a good trigger. Looking at the weekly chart, that level of, 256.77 looks pretty solid. I see now that 259.24 level was definitely key. A move over that would probably be a good trigger to use looking at that pre-market high. So 259.24 looks to be that trigger to the upside over on FedEx. 259.30. So that's probably the level to look at, guys. Over that spot, I think, because that's the body of these candles, but over that area, I think that looks really good for next week calls, looking at 265 calls for next week, 270 calls possibly. I would not play the weekly calls on FedEx, guys. You have to understand those weekly calls get really kind of jammed up because of all the stuff that goes into those earnings, right? All the Greeks that kind of factor in the theta decay, the IV, right? So you can play next week calls, not deal with as much, decay on your contracts, which can be helpful for sure. Yeah, that would be cool. Santa rally, but with puts for sure. But again, don't carry bias, guys. Big thing. Don't carry bias into today. I know it looks really bearish, and trust me, like my mind is naturally going to go there too. But, there's multiple ways to think about it. You could think it could be yesterday was, they're trying to use the reverse psychology, right? Like of, okay, hey, we were bullish yesterday in pre-market, and then we flushed. Today we're bearish, so we're probably going to ramp up. Or maybe that was the trap because you think that, and then today they flushed even more. So you can't really bring bias in. As much as you want to think you can predict the future, you can't. So you have to wait and just trade what's in front of you. That's the biggest tip. Other names that I am going to look at on the defensive side of things, KHC is my top watch. Coke traded pretty meh yesterday. It should have followed Kraft Heinz. They usually do. Over 36.44, this will be a top watch for me for the 1K challenge. If it gets over this level, guys, I really think we can see a nice move to the upside on Kraft Heinz. I really think that's going to be kind of a pretty solid breakout spot for at least, so the level is 36.44, right? That's the big wick up that you see right there. And it's also the wick that you're seeing on a little bit closer of a time frame. If we can see a move over that, you could use the 36.13 level. But again, I do think we're going to see a continued rotation into these defensive names. The last time defensive names were bullish, Kraft went to 44. And what do you know? The key level for that move to the upside was 36.44. So I'm going to be paying really close attention to that level for the small account because those contracts are relatively inexpensive. You can trade in the money calls. So over 36.44, going to look at the 37 calls on Kraft Heinz. So KHC is that ticker. Yeah, Rivian looks good under 100 for short, but I feel like it's already down so much. I don't like to touch things that I don't want to touch it to the short side when it's already had a 10% move down in pre-market. This might affect Lucid a little bit, but Lucid has had such high relative strength. It's a little bit harder for me to want to, approach that short side. So gonna kind of stick to what I'm really familiar with today. Tesla's the other one. I'll be surprised if this doesn't bounce off 900, honestly, like 908 level. But again, for me, kind of focusing on NVIDIA, Apple, and FedEx today. I think FedEx is a really nice setup. Same thing with Kraft Heinz as far as some more defensive names go. Yeah, so just really quick, someone asked a good question. Talk about next week. So I'll be with some family next week. I will still be trading Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Christmas Eve, I believe, is Thursday or Friday? Thursday or Friday? So I'll probably be trading the first 3 days of the week. Christmas Eve and stuff, obviously I won't be putting out content and stuff like that, but I'll definitely be trading Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to definitely try to spend some time with my family, though, and enjoy a few days off, guys, because it's been a nonstop grind for the past, 20 days. And so, it is healthy to have those mental breaks. So I'm going to try to take a couple of days off. Just, obviously probably the day before Christmas Eve, I might not really trade too much. But other than that, it'll be pretty normal. I'm still going to do pre-market lives. It'll just be from my family's house. On my laptop, so the quality won't be as good. The mic will suck. I'm sorry, but I will still be trading and doing, my job, which is this, right? So we shall see. We shall see. But that's the plan for next week. Nothing too crazy, but just wanted to give you guys a quick heads up. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get everything posted on Twitter for you guys. I'll probably go ahead and post KHC and Apple because those are the two that I really want to focus on. So I know, guys, if I'm going to go smaller on the small account today, I'll probably trade like maybe one or two contracts of whatever I take depending on the price because I'm honestly, I'd rather get some confidence back and kind of, really, not try to push it. I'm not trying to don't try to make back all of the losses right now. Like you took a loss, it's fine. Trying to make it back right away is going to just lead you further down in that hole, right? So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this setup posted on Twitter. Thank you guys for a good week. Hopefully, I know it was a great week up until yesterday. Tough end to the week, but let's end this week strong, and then we will have the holiday next week. So very excited. 2 new videos come out on Sunday. Super stoked for that. And I will see you guys on Twitter and Discord later today. I hope you guys have a fantastic quad witching Lotto Friday, and I will see you guys on the stream. Peace.